This is the Small Business Report, powered by PNC Bank. Your weekly access to all the tools you need to succeed. Stay tuned for expert advice from business owners, subject matter experts, and government agencies. Each week, you'll learn tips on how to start, grow, and finance your business. The Small Business Report is supported by the DC Small Business Development Center, a partnership program nationally accredited by the Association of America's SBCDs and funded in part by the U.S. Small Business Administration, Howard University, with Howard University serving as the network's headquarters. Stay tuned. Coming up next, your host, Carl Brown, State Executive Director of the District of Columbia Small Business Development Center.
Hi, this is Jermaine Johnson, Regional President for PNC Bank. At PNC, we believe that we play an important role in building strong, vibrant, more self-reliant communities. Our responsibility to help drive meaningful change has never felt more important than in this moment. Visit pnc.com/diversity to learn more. The PNC Financial Services Group, Inc., all rights reserved.
Hello, this is Carl Brown, host of the Small Business Report on SiriusXM Channel 141, HUR Voices. Every Thursday at noon, we bring you the stories of small business owners and subject matter experts that can help you start, grow, or sustain your business. Please be sure to tune in every Thursday at noon on SiriusXM Channel 141, HUR Voices to hear the Small Business Report.
Dealing with car repairs can feel like a lose-lose situation. The hassle, the headaches, the cost, it's just too much. That's why I called CarShield. They're helping me save time and money. It's a win-win. CarShield's administrators make everything super easy. They handle the paperwork and expensive payments so I don't have to. CarShield saves me thousands and I get to choose the mechanic to do the work. CarShield's administrators take care of the rest. Plans from CarShield even provide coast-to-coast roadside assistance, rental coverage, and trip reimbursement, all at no additional charge. CarShield has monthly coverage options to fit your budget, and they've helped over 1 million drivers. CarShield is a win-win. They help get me back on track when I'm in a pinch, and I'm not on the hook to pay thousands. Get coverage today and see why CarShield cars go farther. Visit carshield.com/report to save 10%. That's carshield.com/report. A deductible may apply.
Welcome to the Small Business Report here on SiriusXM Channel 141. Welcome, folks. It's been a minute. I'll tell you, every week I love to talk to you guys, bring you some knowledge and wisdom out here. And today we have a really good show on banking. And you know, I've been talking about financial literacy for some time. We're going to have Jermaine Johnson on, the regional president of PNC Bank for Greater Washington and Virginia, and Gail Louis, a relationship manager with PNC Business Banking and a PNC Certified Women Business Advocate. So if you can't learn anything today, I don't know what the problem is, because these are two heavy hitters that will drop some knowledge and wisdom on you on how to develop a trusted relationship with your banker. Networking and building a real relationship with people who play a critical role in the development of your business. So we're going to share tips for how to proactively develop a relationship with your banker, and hopefully it's with PNC. Learn how your banker and their team of expert partners are there to advise you as to the resources that will assist you in accomplishing your planned growth. So this is critically important to your success. So again, PNC Bank has been a great partner with the Small Business Report, and they're bringing some wisdom and knowledge and two of the biggest experts in the field on business banking. That's Jermaine Johnson and Gail Louis. So we'll be right back after these messages.
When you need to reach, teach, or engage your target market to enhance your desired results, this is where entertainment meets education. The Holloway Media Group will help you create, distribute, and edit your multimedia productions. Let our experts provide talent development advice and assistance using media to improve productivity of your workforce. We'll develop a customized program to meet your unique needs. We have your media solutions. Visit hollowaymedia.com for more information.
Hey, Small Business Report listeners, are you a small or mid-sized business? Let BDPAtoday.com help you leverage emerging technologies and digital innovations to transform your business.
BDPAtoday.com will highlight your organization's innovations, solutions, and success stories. Let BDPAtoday.com publish your branded videos, blogs, and photos to a national tech industry audience and assist with your awareness building campaign. With BDPAtoday.com, you can network with qualified and certified tech professionals and get access to developers, gamers, hackers, and interns to join your team for short or long-term projects.
Visit BDPAtoday.com for true digital transformation that will drive competitive advantage to your organization.
That's BDPAtoday.com.
Tune in to the Skin Deep Show with host Sharon Morton as she engages your senses and examines the issues affecting Black skin and its treatment in every facet of life, from beauty, health, and wellness to social injustice and mass incarceration. It's a show designed to stimulate your mind, body, and soul. Don't miss it. The Skin Deep Show, every Friday at 5:30 p.m. and Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on SiriusXM Channel 141 HUR Voices.
Welcome back to the Small Business Report here on SiriusXM Channel 141 HUR Voices. And as I promised, folks, we have Jermaine Johnson, Regional President of PNC Bank for Greater Washington and Virginia, and Gail Louis, Relationship Manager with PNC Bank Business Banking and a PNC Certified Women Business Advocate. So welcome to the show, Jermaine and Gail.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
It's wonderful having you back again, Jermaine. We always talk about you, and having you on the show is always a good thing. So as a small business owner, what should I do to develop and start that relationship with the bank?
Well, good morning, Carl. It's nice to be here with you again this morning. It's a wonderful, bright, sunny day here in Washington, D.C. Although your listeners can't see that, we can certainly see that, and hopefully we bring some knowledge and experience to the folks who we're going to speak to today. I'll provide my view here, but certainly want to bring Gail into this discussion as well. I commonly say to folks, and it doesn't matter what size of company you are, the best time to get money is when you don't need money. And what that means is you should always be establishing a relationship with your banker. Anytime you're in business, you never know what's hiding behind the corner in terms of the needs that you may have, whether it's from a growth perspective or to sustain the growth that you have, or potentially even to get you through some of the tough patches that we're likely to see here, especially given the pandemic. We hear a lot about labor shortages and supply chain issues. A bank can be very helpful during that period. So, but unless you have that established relationship, accessing the capital that you need may be difficult depending on where you are.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Gail, what would you say?
Well, I think the most important thing is to know that this is a partnership, and your banker should be your trusted advisor. And when I say that, that means that we're there to help you get to where you want to be. Think of us as the linchpin that will provide you with the education, the various products, services, and the wisdom from our experience to get from where you are today to where you should want to be tomorrow. So that can mean anything from solidifying the resources you have now so that you can continue to grow. It can also mean building that personal wealth. Your banker is going to play a critical role in obtaining any finances you might need, maximizing your cash flow, just achieving overall goals. And we do that not just as the individual banker, Gail, that you may be speaking to now, but because we have a team of partners, each of which is an expert in those areas that you will need to obtain the success you're trying to get to.
I think, when we're counseling our small businesses at the DC Small Business Development Center, we always tell them that you need a banker, a CPA, or an accountant, a human resources person, and a lawyer at a minimum to be your advisors or your advisory team for your success. Some of our customers take us up on that, but a lot of them don't. And we see it kind of handicaps them when they're looking for funding because they can't get the funding they need or want right away. What are some of the things that you see as a business banker when some of these small businesses come in that are hindering them from actually getting the financing that they need at the time that they need it?
Okay. And one other partner I might add is an IT person.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you are absolutely right. That is so critical right now with all this hacking and ransomware and all this other cybersecurity issues. You are absolutely correct.
Yes. Well, I will tell you this. In our initial conversations that we have with a lot of small businesses that are really, really poised to grow, the initial conversation allows us to understand what they have now, to understand where they're going, and then to allow us to go in and say, here's what you need. And most often, they haven't taken you up on your advice. They don't have an accountant, a CPA. Doesn't have to be someone on staff, because we understand that that is a financial thing that may not be feasible at this time. But you need to have someone who can tell you where you are. How are you doing this year versus last year? How are you doing this month versus last month? And where does it look like you're going? The other thing is a full understanding of the industry that you're in, to understand those trends and to understand what may impact you as time goes on. Everybody saw the pandemic and they saw all the various ways it impacted us, but there are little things that can happen right now that can impact you, like all of those cargo ships that are out in California.
Oh, not just California.
Yeah.
Miami, New York. I mean, you name any port in America, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, too often I think the view of a bank and banking, it's viewed as a commodity, not in the form as an advisor. And what an advisor means is an advisor is there, during good and bad times. And the point that I made earlier about looking for money before you need it, and establishing that relationship is so that when you have the periods like what we experienced here the last 18 months with the pandemic, you just never know exactly what's lurking around the corner. And you need an advisor who can, provide you with the advice, to get the accountant, to have the IT person in place, to make, we as a banker should be in a place to tell you what's happening within your industry, both from a banking standpoint, but also the specific industry in which you're operating, so that we can, help get you from point A to point Z. I oftentimes say that we here at PNC, we're here to serve from cradle to grave. We were there at the beginning of your business when you're just getting started to when you're growing, and then ultimately to serve at the back end of your business when you may look to sell your business and you have a succession event, so that we can provide that private wealth banking
service that you might need once you exit from the business that you've been operating for so many years.
Jermaine,
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Gail.
I was just going to say that's an excellent point, because when you talk about succession plans, the understanding of what you think your business is worth, what someone will pay for your business, and what someone is able to do a financial deal, a credit line or whatever with a financial institution so that they can purchase that business. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that, because we are in the middle of what they call a silver tsunami. And that is the baby boomers are getting ready to and are retiring at this time at 10 to 12,000 a month. And the SBA estimates that there's about $10 trillion in business out there. And this is not Carl's number, that's the SBA's number, and business valuation. And so what we're trying to focus people on at this time is not to really start a business, but to look at existing businesses that are potentially are on sale right now that you can buy and fit like hand in glove, take over and run with it, because it already has a revenue coming in, and all you have to do is the due diligence on what is the value of the business and how much you're going to pay. So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, we're already seeing from a workforce perspective, folks that are, getting to the end of their careers and opting to retire. That same phenomenon, as you mentioned, Carl, is happening with small businesses. Folks are getting to a place where they need to turn that business over. They may turn it over to someone, within their family. But most likely, if they haven't already established a succession plan, that business is going to go to someone outside the family, circle. And understanding what that value is, understanding, having the financial wherewithal to present the value of the business, you need to have all the things that we're talking about here in place. You need to have ample liquidity in place. You need to have ample credit facilities in place. You need to have ample, operating services in place, all of which a bank can provide. But if you don't have that established relationship, very difficult for you to make that transition. And more importantly, very difficult for you to highlight the value of your business. Any person who comes in to do that due diligence is going to be looking for all those pieces I just mentioned.
Oh, absolutely. Because that determines the cost of the business to you, and the retirement, an additional retirement fund to the seller. And so we think that it's a better way for people that are in the 45 and up age category, as opposed to trying to start a business at age 45, because you need a lot of runway to do that. But we got to take a quick commercial break. So, hey folks, we'll be right back. You're listening to the Small Business Report here on Sirius XM channel 141. HUR Voices. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's Madison, the Black Eagle.
This is Karen Hunter.
This is Clay King.
Al Sharpton.
Hey, it's Lauren Coates.
Hey, this is Godfrey. Sirius XM.
Urban View.
1, 2, 6.
Urban View is where Americans get to see what America is supposed to look like.
We are free to express our opinion as long as they're honest.
From sunup till sundown.
All are welcome, but be careful if you come in, because your life might be changed.
I'm super excited to be able to engage folks.
And that's what's happening right now. Urban View. Keep it real.
Channel 126.
Hello, this is Carl Brown, host of the Small Business Report on Sirius XM channel 141, HUR Voices. Every Thursday at noon, we bring you the stories of small business owners and subject matter experts that can help you start, grow, or sustain your business. Please be sure to tune in every Thursday at noon on SiriusXM Channel 141, HUR Voices, to hear the Small Business Report.
You know your body, and you know when something's off, when something doesn't feel quite right. Don't ignore symptoms like fatigue, joint pain, rashes, and fever. They could be signs of lupus. Listen to your body. Take care of yourself. We're here to help you take control of your health. Learn how at BeFierceTakeControl.org. Brought to you by the Lupus Foundation of America and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Hi, this is Jermaine Johnson, Regional President for PNC Bank. At PNC, we believe that we play an important role in building strong, vibrant, more self-reliant communities. Our responsibility to help drive meaningful change has never felt more important than in this moment. Visit pnc.com/diversity to learn more. The PNC Financial Services Group, Inc., all rights reserved.
You're listening to the Small Business Report here on SiriusXM Channel 141, and our guests today are Mr. Jermaine Johnson, the Regional President of PNC Bank for Greater Washington and Virginia, and Gail Louis, Relationship Manager with PNC Business Banking and a PNC Certified Woman Business Advocate. So I'm throwing out the question at this point: what basic financial tools and reports should a small business have on hand?
Okay. The first thing is you should have balance sheets. You should have a schedule of your debts, a schedule of your receivables. You should have your monthly and interim reports so that these are things that will let you know what you have coming in, what's going out, and how certain things may impact you. By having those reports, if you need to bid for a project, you'll know how that bid and having to, say, have salaries to be paid prior to, say, if you're a government contract, that's 60 to 90 days. These are the reports that are going to allow you to see what's happening. And in time, you can look back and year over year, see how cyclical your business may have become, how certain periods of the year may ebb or flow, and also to see what's happening in the industry with trends and what your competition may be doing. And it also helps you to know, if I've got to buy new equipment, when can I do that?
Good advice. Now, we can help with the industry reports. Any small business development center could assist with that because that's what we do. So for small businesses out there saying, well, how do I get that? Just come into the Small Business Development Center and we can help you with industry reports. It's good to know what kind of machinery is available in your industry. What are the trends in your industry? Like Gail pointed out, is your business cyclical? Look at GovCon. The fourth quarter of the federal fiscal year is a lot of activities going on in the fourth quarter, but you may not get paid for that activity or awarded those projects until the spring, but you got to spend half of your summer in the first part of the fall working on government contracts. So that's a cyclical kind of business. But you might not start working until the latter part of the first quarter, which is November, December timeframe, or into the spring. So how often should a small business analyze those reports?
In my opinion, you should be doing so at the bare minimum monthly. I think that depending on how you have your accountant, or if you have someone on staff to have those things available to you may want to look at certain things more often than that. maybe every 2 weeks or something like that. And then quarterly, that's when you're going to sit down with your accountant and with your banker and talk about what has happened, what did I expect to happen, and how can I make up for that? If things weren't getting paid in time, is it my pricing? Is it the type of client I have? Should I be using different systems for payables, things that will allow some people are still accepting checks. They're being mailed. But should it be something where I can actually auto debit a client, or that client has access to a system so that they can pay me in different ways? So those are all the things that you're looking at and you're discussing at that time.
So I'm gonna be honest with you, Gail. When you said sit down with your banker, that is something very new to a lot of the businesses that I've been working with. And right now in 2021, we're working with 1,411 small businesses. So, and I can tell you about 95% of them have not sat down with their bankers. So how should they even do that? Do they call ahead? How do they do that? What is the process to sit down with their banker? Because we're trying to educate folks on this is not something that is different. It's something that has been widely done in the banking industry forever. It's just something new to the minority business and small business owners. Whether they've been intimidated by banking or what, I don't know the exact answer, but how can we make it real simple for them to understand that this is something that they can do, and it's really a requirement that they do sit down with their banker?
So, Carl, we were talking about cyclicality in someone's business and how important it is to make sure you have a view, you can forecast what impacts that may have to your business. But to bring this real life, we almost just had a government shutdown here. The debt limit was not raised. What impact would that have to the small business government contractor who's out there, who's reliant on being paid by the federal government? And if you're not in a place of having those discussions with your banker, making sure that you have the sufficient liquidity to tie you over during that time, that's a real world event that could have a huge impact. You asked the question of how do you create, how do you have those conversations? We are uberly interested in knowing our small business community. One, because we provide so much support in the community, but more importantly, as a bank, we provide operating services to those constituents, of which we very much want to bank, we very much want to advise, and we very much want to create a relationship. We generally do a lot of outward bound, calling, whether it's cold calling or meeting, a small business through a COI, a center of influence. If you are a small business and you have a relationship with an accounting firm or a law firm, more times than not, they will have relationships with a bank, like a PNC bank, of which you can create that relationship very easily, either through that channel or directly. Pick up your phone. I think my number is posted. If you go onto the PNC website locally, you can find Jermaine Johnson. You can go to our LinkedIn pages and find myself or Gail. We're very active in those channels. We're happy to have those conversations, and we want to advise and to help you wherever your business may be at this point in time.
Yeah, and I think what I'd also like to add to that is part of what we do is we tell you, if not now, how do we get to the point that you want to get to? We've had several things. I know with our Women Connect group, we talk to women who are in businesses, and we spend a lot of time saying, come to us now, so that we can make sure you're taking the right steps and not making any missteps that would affect your ability to do what you want to do.
Yeah, it's very important that we educate the small business community on banking relationships, because when I talk to the small businesses that we're working with, they act as though it's something foreign, that only large businesses have a relationship with their banker. And I try to impress upon them that no, every business, whether it's small, micro, one person deep with one contract, you should have a relationship with your bank, because that's where your money is. You know, and the lifeblood of any and every business is money. It takes money to run a business. It takes money to fund a business. And, you know, you have to pay your employees if you have them. You have to pay yourself. If you are one person, you have to pay yourself. That's how you generate your money to pay your bills. You know, and it's critically important that people feel comfortable coming into a bank. And I think that you two have impressed upon folks that you're available and looking forward to meeting them.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes, you know, I would even tell you, you need to know multiple banks, not just your main primary bank, but more than just one bank. If you're a large company, if you're General Dynamics or, you know, Lockheed Martin, I'm just throwing those names out because they may be familiar for the folks that we have here that are listening here in this region. They have multiple banking relationships, and they have those multiple banking relationships because one, there may be services that one bank can provide that the other may not be able to provide. There may be core competencies that you have at one institution that someone else can. And you also never know. We're going through our biggest, you know, conversion right now with BBVA. We're going to buy BBVA, which is based out of Alabama. Huge concentration in Texas that make us the 6th largest bank in the country. You know, you could turn around and if you were with BB&T and now all of a sudden you're Truist. And, you know, what Truist provides may not be consistent with where you were banking at BB&T or SunTrust. And so you want to make sure you have that relationship in the event that those changes occur.
That is true. And congratulations, by the way, on that, growing the bank. You know, we just did a segment on mergers and acquisitions on how to grow your business as a small business owner, because a lot of times folks overlook that as well. And it's one way to grow the business. But look, folks, we're going to be right back after these messages. You're listening to the Small Business Report. We have Mr. Jermaine Johnson, Regional President of PNC Bank, and Gail Louis, Relationship Manager, Business Banking at PNC. We'll be right back.
Dealing with car repairs can feel like a lose-lose situation. The hassle, the headaches, the cost, it's just too much. That's why I called CarShield. They're helping me save time and money. It's a win-win. CarShield's administrators make everything super easy. They handle the paperwork and expensive payments so I don't have to. CarShield saves me thousands, and I get to choose the mechanic to do the work. CarShield's administrators take care of the rest. Plans from CarShield even provide coast-to-coast roadside assistance, rental coverage, and trip reimbursement, all at no additional charge. CarShield has monthly coverage options to fit your budget, and they've helped over 1 million drivers. CarShield is a win-win. They help get me back on track when I'm in a pinch, and I'm not on the hook to pay thousands. Get coverage today and see why CarShield cars go farther. Visit carshield.com/report to save 10%. That's carshield.com/report. A deductible may apply.
Every 14 seconds, someone, somewhere, learns they have breast cancer, the most commonly diagnosed cancer worldwide. The Breast Cancer Research Foundation unites the best minds in science. A global team collaborating across disciplines and pursuing their boldest ideas. The scientists we support have been involved in every major breakthrough in breast cancer research. Our progress can be measured in millions of survivors. By investing in every aspect of breast cancer research, we're deepening our understanding of how cancer begins and why it sometimes spreads. Only with your help can we maintain our progress. Only by saving research now can we save lives tomorrow.
Welcome back to the Small Business Report here on Sirius XM Channel 141. And we are listening to and talking with Mr. Jermaine Johnson, Regional President of PNC Bank for Greater Washington and Virginia, and Gail Louis, Relationship Manager with PNC Business Banking and a PNC Certified Woman Business Advocate. So how, Jermaine and Gail, how does the bank evaluate your financial health?
Yeah, the biggest or the most important metric typically is cash flow. How much earnings are you generating? What are the when you look at the cash coming in versus the cash going out? What are the remaining cash that you have, for discretionary type items? That's how we would value the business. That's how we can determine, what level of debt service you can cover. That's how we can determine if you were going out to get a valuation, the first thing they're going to look to is the cash flows of the business. Typically there's a discounted cash flow analysis that's provided to back into what the value is today in today's dollars. And similarly, that's central to how we view the business, combined with the strength of the balance sheet. So the income statement and the cash flows are really, what are the earning potential of that business, but then the liquidity in the balance sheet is really what's a support that we can value. What are the assets and liabilities, and then ultimately the equity that you have in that business that gives us the long-term view of support going forward.
So people should continue to put money into the business and not spend all of the money that they generate through the business.
Yeah, there's that's the equity portion. That shows historically what money has been put back into the business over and above the assets and liabilities that you have. So absolutely, yes. We look for companies that have that strength. That's typically why we take a 3-year view. Most times as a banker, when we come out and ask for your financials, we're not asking for just the past year, but we want to take a 3-year look at the business for where it is today and how you performed over that period, because you've likely gone through some cycle, but it also showcases what amount of, earnings you put back into the business.
Now, do you look at their business plan as well to get a larger view or picture of the business itself?
Exactly. We really want to know where, as I said before, where you're going. And we need to look at how you're managing the resources you have now. And by looking at that, we can see if it justifies, say you're asking for a credit, you have a credit request. Why are you doing this? Just saying I have a contract that's not going to do it. So we want everyone to just really look at where you are today. We evaluate how you're handling your cash, the credit of the business. Are we paying on time? Those types of things. And the quality of the accounts receivables that are coming in.
Well, a lot of businesses that we work with now, we work with them on their business plan, and after a couple of years, they don't revise it to the current standing. So they might have increased their product line or their product offering or service offering, but it's not reflected in their business plan because they took the business plan and put it on the shelf in the office somewhere, or it's in cyberspace somewhere, and it hasn't been looked at or revised. And then they come into the bank and then they're trying to tell you, we're doing we were doing just, say, a bakery. We were just making cakes, but now we're doing cupcakes, but it's nowhere in the business plan. Or they might have increased their product line to include sandwiches. So now they're coming to you for a new oven. You know, what happens when they come in with that kind of a scenario?
Well, fortunately, if we follow the steps we're talking about, staying in contact with your business banker, with whatever financial institution, it shouldn't happen. But if it does, that's when you have to go back to the table, and we have to have the numbers, the facts, the projections to show us how this is going to happen. And that goes back to when I said quarterly sitting down with the banker and having the CPA, financial person, or other trusted partners involved in that. Because the idea didn't come up yesterday to do cupcakes. It came up based on things that have happened maybe months before. And if we're ahead of that, you're not having to go back and rework the plan. And a plan is something that you have. We're not going to say you don't deviate from some of the things in the plan, but if you have a plan, at least you know when you're deviating.
I just had this thought. The supply chain has been really disrupted because of the pandemic. I mean, and then on top of that, we have all of these shipping ships in the ocean with the containers full of products that can't even be unloaded because we don't even have the manpower to unload them. How has that affected some of the businesses that you've seen coming into the bank?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about a plan previously. I would say that there's a common saying that the plan is only as good as your ability to adapt when you get hit in the mouth, right? When a boxer goes out, he goes out with a plan, but he's only as good as his ability to adapt and to adjust when things, go awry. And similarly, that's what happens for companies. And we're seeing, most of our companies that we have, they're pretty well healed. They've been around for quite some time. They've seen disruptions in the past. This is not the first time that we've seen economic disruption, here in this market or really across the country. The thing that most benefited those folks who were impacted by supply chain or impacted by the pandemic, there's been a lot of federal support that's been provided. We talked about this in our last segment, Carl, the PPP loans that we supported.
Yes.
Those businesses created the lifeline that they needed to get them from point A to point Z. When the lights went off, in some cases, to tie those folks over to make sure that their employees receiving, paychecks during the darkest times. And frankly, we as an institution have had to adjust. Had we not had the technology in place to be as productive as we've been in the 18 months and provide those PPP loans, we would not have been the resource that we were during that time. And so we had to adjust during that time. Our clients have had to adjust during that period. The planning, no one could have planned for the pandemic. No one could have planned for these supply chain issues that we're seeing right now. All you can do is try to get out in front of them and try to adapt and to be fluid and evolve with whatever you're seeing here on the ground. But you need a banker to be able to do that. You need a banker who should know, if they know your business well enough, what are the impacts that are happening within your industry, and what are the companies in your industry, what are they doing to compete against the challenges that may be on the ground?
Yeah, and I like that answer because we're trying to impress upon the listeners today that having a business banking relationship is critical to their success. I had one guy on who said, I have either lunch or dinner with my banker to discuss where we are with our business, and it has been immensely helpful because they understand what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, and they've been able to discuss various ways for us to do it, including different financial tools. And do you think that is helpful to have your business bankers to have a coffee or lunch with a potential client or a client?
That's absolutely necessary. As a business banker, what else would you be doing during a time like this or at any time? You can, some of them have been Zoom lunches or
Yeah, true.
but we talk. And what we found is when it's done that way, they give us a little bit more time and everybody's in the room because it does not disrupt business to have that. So I would say it's absolutely essential. We're a partner. You have to keep us involved.
Love it. Look, folks, we'll be right back after these messages. We're talking to Mr. Jermaine Johnson, Regional President of PNC Bank, Gail Louis, Relationship Manager with PNC Business Banking. We'll be right back after these messages.
Get your classic soul and Motown in Soul Town. For the Detroit sound of Aretha. To the Memphis soul of Al. Let's stay together. Or the funk of James. Wow, I feel good. And the hallway harmony of the Supremes. Make sure you stop. Gonna put it on Soul Town. In Soul Town, Channel 49.
Hi, this is Jermaine Johnson, Regional President for PNC Bank. At PNC, we believe that we play an important role in building strong, vibrant, more self-reliant communities. Our responsibility to help drive meaningful change has never felt more important than in this moment. Visit pnc.com/diversity to learn more. The PNC Financial Services Group, Inc., all rights reserved.
Dealing with car repairs can feel like a lose-lose situation. The hassle, the headaches, the cost, it's just too much. That's why I called CarShield. They're helping me save time and money. It's a win-win. CarShield's administrators make everything super easy. They handle the paperwork and expensive payments so I don't have to. CarShield saves me thousands and I get to choose the mechanic to do the work. CarShield's administrators take care of the rest. Plans from CarShield even provide coast-to-coast roadside assistance, rental coverage, and trip reimbursement, all at no additional charge. CarShield has monthly coverage options to fit your budget, and they've helped over 1 million drivers. CarShield is a win-win. They help get me back on track when I'm in a pinch, and I'm not on the hook to pay thousands. Get coverage today and see why CarShield cars go farther. Visit carshield.com/report to save 10%. That's carshield.com/report. A deductible may apply.
Welcome back to the Small Business Report here on Sirius XM, Channel 141. This is your host, Carl Brown, and I have Mr. Jermaine Johnson, Regional President of PNC Bank for Greater Washington and Virginia, and Ms. Gail Louis, Relationship Manager with PNC Business Banking and a PNC Certified Women Business Advocate. So, what should your cash position be to support your business over a 90-day period?
Yeah, the general standard in the industry is to make sure you have at least 2 payrolls. If I were to take that question personally, I think 2 payrolls is maybe not enough, but the industry would suggest for companies of the size that we're talking to here today, 2 payrolls is generally the target. And you should have ample resources beyond just your cash. Again, this is why the bank is so important. When we talk about liquidity, we think of both the cash position that you have as well as the available lines of credit that you have, in combination together. And so between those two, of having cash sufficient to support those 2 payrolls and also having an ample relationship with the bank with available lines of credit, that should be able to support you within that time frame that you asked.
A buddy of mine had several businesses that well, a couple of them were restaurant, bar type businesses. And every time he opened up a new one, he said to me, I try to have at least 18 months of cash on hand for the new business entity because I have to pay all of my bills, make payroll, all of these other things that crop up, including marketing of the new business, the location, the hours of operation, et cetera. Do you think, I thought it was great, but what do you think about that?
Well, it's a great. I mean, look, you can never have enough cash. Cash is king. It always is. And so, 18 months sounds a little excessive, but because you may not be maximizing on the other end your ability to invest some of that cash. Especially if you're using it for just purely for operations. So you want to have a balance of having sufficient cash to manage the business, but at the same time making sure you're getting enough yield on the cash that you're holding. So that would be my high level response to that. But like I said, you can never have enough.
Well, and I think you're right. 18 months is a lot. I mean, I'd love to talk to him, but you're right. This is where our team approach comes in because we'll talk to you and say, okay, what do you anticipate needing in 3 months, 6 months, what have you, and then help you to maybe find other vehicles, as Jermaine said, to invest those funds in other ways, or to consider having a credit facility for short-term things. But like I said, if you've got it, 18 months, well, that's a lot of cash.
Yeah, it was a lot of cash, but like I said, he had like nightclubs, and he didn't want to, and these were cash businesses, so he was generating cash. They were always packed, but his thing was like, I need 18 months before I open the door. But you just mentioned credit.
And to your point, Carl, just really quickly, you designated that business as a cash business, which it is, and when we use general terms like 2 weeks of or 2 payrolls, depending on the business that you're in, and again, this is why the bank is so important. We should have a view as to how your business may be different from another, and every business is not the same, and so some businesses may require to have more cash because of the cash needs of that business. That's where you can really lean on your bank to get that assistance. And
that's why
the differences are.
Yeah, that's why this conversation is important, so that folks can discern what it is that they need, and for the most part, to come in and meet with you to discuss what their needs are and what their vision is as a small business owner and what their end game is. But Gail, you just mentioned something that I need a little more clarification on, and you mentioned credit facility. What is that?
Well, we're looking at short-term, long-term. And sometimes people will say, I need to get a line of credit, or I need this credit right away. And when we sit down and talk to them, we want to understand how they're operating, how they're making payments, receiving payments, because that may impact the amount of cash that they need to have and how often they may need to go to that, say, line of credit. A lot of times we bring in other people. Are your contracts in line with everyone else's? Are you allowing people to pay you at a later time than your competition, shall we say? So sometimes by just finding out, I got that bid, I got that contract. Well, was your contract the cheapest? And did you give the most favorable terms to the person who's paying you? So that's when we start to look at it. A credit facility may be appropriate for short term. We're looking at a line of credit. If it's long term, if you need to do equipment and it's something that you're not going to pay off immediately, then we're looking at term loans. But we're able to understand what may best suit you. You mentioned the individual who had restaurants and bars. Deliveries of food, they're paying cash.
Yes.
So that's when that truck rolls up, you either got to give them a check or you have an account where they're going to debit you that same day. So as you said, that's a little different. And we need to understand how you're doing your business and make sure it's in line with what the competition is doing and in line with what the industry is doing.
Yeah, we want to match your needs with the cash flows that you have to the credit facilities that you need. And to Gail's point, if it's a business that's turning over its assets very quickly, if it's for a restaurant, just to use that as an example, it's most likely that we're going to tie that to a line of credit type of facility. If it's more longer term in nature, if it's a capital investment that's going to longer term cash flows would be needed in order to support that asset, that's how we would come in and provide you with the term loan. If you think about it on a personal basis, your mortgage is really a long-term debt facility that's based on the long-term earning capacity of you as an earner and generating income to pay it down. But for those everyday expenses that you have for getting gas or getting groceries, that would be tied more to your credit card and more like a line of credit. So we want to make sure that we tie how we support or how we, underwrite those facilities per the cash flows that you're generating to pay down the facilities and make sure they're appropriately set up.
Now, one of my one of the things that I'm trying to accomplish is to get people to move away from what I call lifestyle businesses and start to build legacy businesses. And that's why it's important to have folks like you on to discuss in real terms banking, because this is something that for a lot of minority and small business owners is something foreign to them. But as the business owner, how are your personal finances evaluated when looking at credit?
Well, that's a very important part of it. You are the business owner. The expectation is that the cost of your business is going to really be served by the cash flow from your business. But at the end of the day, your credit is evaluated because you are the one that controls the business and what happens in the business. So it is very important to make sure that your credit is in good stead.
And so people, folks, listeners, clients of the SBDCs, friends of the Small Business Report, protect your credit at all costs. So Jermaine and Gail, it's been a pleasure. We got a minute left. What's the last word you can give our listeners?
Yeah, I think, I started with you can't have a relationship with a bank early enough, early and often in multiple banks. You want to make sure the advice that you're receiving is consistent with what's happening with your company and with your industry. And we're happy to get to meet you at some point in time. Gail?
Exactly. And we work as a team. We try to bring at every meeting, we'll try to bring the experts that are going to impact the conversation that day, to understand more what you're doing. So please always look to us, look to the PNC team.
Hey, Jermaine and Gail, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Folks, we'll be back next week with vital information that would help you grow your business. This is Carl Brown on the Small Business Report here on Sirius XM Channel 141.
You've been listening to the Small Business Report powered by PNC Bank, your weekly access to all the tools you need to succeed, with your host, Carl Brown, State Executive Director of the District of Columbia Small Business Development Center. Stay tuned to HUR Voices, Sirius XM Channel 141, every Tuesday and Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. and Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific for expert advice from business owners, subject matter experts, and government agencies. Each week, you'll learn tips on how to start, grow, and finance your business. The Small Business Report is supported by the DC Small Business Development Center, a partnership program nationally accredited by the Association of America's SBDCs, and funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, Howard University, with Howard University serving as the network's headquarters. The Small Business Report on HUR Voices, Sirius XM Channel 141.